So these are the levels of motivation. The motivation so far we've looked at to gain happiness, happiness in the future, happiness in not just future in this life, but next life. Then to attain the causes for liberation, which we said are wisdom, understanding reality, based on a very attentive, focused mind, which in itself depends upon a balanced, ethical way of life, moral way of life. Yeah. And then we said that even that's not enough because, who am I? I'm important, but I'm only one person. Others are limitless. So how about helping them? How about caring for others, working for others? As we all do, perhaps to some extent, but not enough. Yeah, not nearly enough. We're basically on the lookout for ourselves, our own satisfaction. And even when helping others, very often we're doing it to, I don't know, we're doing it in a little bit of a show, to try and show others how good we are, or whatever. We want other people's approval all the time. So anyway, our motivation, in short, can be, may I be of greatest benefit to others in whatever way I can right now and in the future. And so therefore, by investigating this wonderful text of Shantideva's, the guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, as well as engaging in some meditation, may these become a cause for us to be of great benefit to not just oneself, but to others as well. So that's quite a lot to reflect on, especially if it's new material for somebody. But it's interesting to investigate these things. Sometimes we're confused. We don't have any clear motivation. All we know is that we are confused and suffering in some way, unhappy, and we want to be happy. And that's good. That's good enough to start with. That's very good. If we wanted to be unhappy, that would be problematic. But since we all want to be happy, that's a good start. Not that being happy alone is enough, but it's a good start. Because if we want to be happy, we might then begin to understand how others want that too. And then we can also now practice some awareness, mindfulness of breath in the posture we mentioned, which we should try and keep a still body, relaxed in body and mind. Since being tense is not going to help anybody. And third factor is, although we may be relaxed, we need to be very attentive, focused, especially to be aware when the mind is like the elephant, the mad elephant, going here and there, like a monkey jumping around all over. You need to be on the lookout for that and bring the mind back recollect the object of meditation, which in this case is going to be the breath, sensation of breathing in and out, normal fashion, no special breathing. Just being aware of that. Sense of relaxing with the out breath. And also, when thoughts come, as they will, just noticing, letting them go, not following the thoughts, not getting attached to the thoughts, not getting angry at the thoughts, just recognizing and letting go, and coming back to the breath. Bringing the attention back to the breath. This is our practice. If we are upright, relaxed, still, that can be very helpful. And need to be without any kind of expectation. No goal orientation here. We're being very calm, very clear, very simple. We're not trying to gain anything. Otherwise, that will lead to some ambition and some tightness, some anxiety about it, expectation. Just let go of all that. Okay, so being aware of the sensation of breath as it enters and leaves your nostrils, and following the advice given. We'll sit like this for 6 or 7 minutes at least. If you're a total beginner, then you might need to take a break after 3 or 4 minutes. So don't push too much, take a half-minute break and then start again. Okay. Okay. Slowly allow yourself to, I wouldn't say come out of the meditation session completely. It's good to retain that calm, clear state of mind. Of course, maybe your mind was anything but calm and clear. But that's okay. Um, at some point, we need to slow down and look at what's happening, isn't it, in this so-called mind. And you remember the one witty person who said that he felt his mind was like a bad neighborhood. He didn't like to go there alone. So anyway, we're all together here. Um, at least two or three of us are together at Tushita. And the rest of us are in our individual places, from Himachal to Dehradun to Delhi to Mumbai, at least, and maybe some other places as well. Okay, so now we are investigating what is one of the most famous texts in the Mahayana tradition. Mahayana, for those who, again, there may be some people who are not very familiar. Mahayana, great vehicle, open vehicle, vast vehicle, refers to uh, a state of mind, really. It refers to a state of mind where we are really determined, we have the aspiration to be of great benefit to others through attaining our highest potential, which is Buddhahood, attaining the state of a Buddha ourselves, in order to be able to help others and guide others, you see, towards Buddhahood. Yeah. Um, so Mahayana Buddhism is that branch of Buddhism which is emphasizing, apart from the other practices of morality and wisdom and so forth, it's emphasizing this aspiration to be of, you could say, global benefit and even beyond global. Wherever there are beings, in the genuine Mahayana practitioner vows to be of benefit to beings wherever they are, all beings, not limited to planet Earth, let alone limited to your, locality or state or country. Okay, so you have the text, I hope, on your smartphones. It's been sent to you. Where are we? So, oh, that's strange. I'm linking to the text and I'm getting Chinese or Japanese. It's very strange. I hope you're not having that problem. I don't have the text, the book with me here. Is anybody else having that issue when you, let's see. Okay, there's a previous link which has the English. And I think we are looking at chapter 5 still. Chapter 5, which in this text is it's called Guarding Alertness. Guarding Alertness. Page 37. And we had got to look at several verses. What verse did we finish on, I wonder? Anybody remember what verse we went up to yesterday? Yeah, well, we paid some attention to verse 19, which was rather very important verse. Just as I'd be attentive and careful of a wound when amidst a bustling, uncontrolled crowd, so I should always guard the wound of my mind when dwelling among harmful people. Yeah, we even went further than that. He says, it's to be without wealth, honor, body, livelihood. That's not so bad. We can let those things go to some extent, but we should not let the positive qualities of our mind deteriorate. Our wealth may go down, as it undoubtedly does sometimes, according to the situation, economic situation. A lot of people's wealth is going down now, even in so-called first world countries. But were we to keep our minds calm, clear, and compassionate, and so forth, then that would be wonderful. That would be the main practice to engage in. So it's Shantideva saying, it's better to be without wealth than to be without good mental qualities. And then he even, he kind of, in verse 23, he's beseeching us with folded hands. He's saying, please, always exert yourselves to guard mindfulness and alertness. And he's saying we need to do that because just as when we're disturbed by a sickness, we don't have bodily strength, we can't do anything useful when we're really sick. And I'm sure we've all had that experience. It's just you feel hopeless, you feel horrible, you feel weak. Often one is in pain, and you can't do anything. Other people have to bring you food, water, maybe even have to help you go to the toilet, even as a young person. So we know what physical sickness can do to us. And Shantideva here is saying that when our mind is tormented by and disturbed by confusion, by ignorance, and the other delusions as well, by implication, anger, attachment, and all that, then our mind has no strength to do anything wholesome, positive. When our mind is totally disturbed by ignorance and other negative emotions, we just don't even have the thought to benefit others, to do something for others, to, even to have a wholesome thought about it, let alone do anything. And in the next verse, 25, he's saying that we need very powerful attention, alertness, because otherwise whatever we have learned or contemplated or meditated on won't be retained in our memory. Our memory will be like a vase that leaks, has a hole and leaks. So what we hear in in the teaching session, by the time we get home, somebody asks us a question about the teaching, we've forgotten. We just forgot. Our mind is like a leaking vase. So we need to be very, very alert, very attentive, and develop that power of the mind to retain those things. And even those people who have a lot of learning, perhaps, they may even have faith, they may have perseverance. This is verse 26. But if we allow our minds to get caught up in a powerful negative emotion, that can happen. We can get overtaken by a very negative emotion. Why? Because of lacking attention, lacking alertness, lacking awareness of what's happening in our mind and which direction our mind is going in. We can easily engage in one of the 10 unvirtuous actions. I myself find some very difficult. I often find myself saying very foolish things you know. And of course, they're not powerfully negative or that harmful to people, but one wish one hadn't said those things, you know. It's just waste of breath. Um, so, but of course, we do much worse things as well, don't we? To the extent of even killing people, harming them physically. So we need to be very alert, very, very alert of what is happening in what we call in Buddhism the three doors, because these are the three doorways through which we create karmic action. So that's the body, the speech, and the mind. So we have bodily actions, we have verbal actions, speech, and we have thoughts and aspirations. And they can be negative as well as positive, as we know. So we have to be very careful. See, then Shantideva talks about lack of alertness as though it's a thief. The thieves of unalertness, in following upon the decline of mindfulness, will steal even the merits I have firmly gathered, so that I shall then proceed to lower realms. So, you know, if we're a merchant and we make a lot of money or something, a shopkeeper, but we don't keep it properly, then it can get stolen. In the same way, if we're not attentive, aware, then our mindfulness declines, and then we engage in negative action, and the positive energy we have generated, the merit, the punya, gets declines, or it gets destroyed even. If it's anger, anger can destroy, it is said, a lot of positive energy on the spot. And then we, at death, then we can go to lower states of existence, having burnt up our good karma and having created more and more disturbing, allowed disturbing conceptions to take over. Therefore, the host of thieves who are my own disturbing conceptions will search for a good opportunity. Having found it, they will steal my virtue and destroy the attainment of life in a happy realm. Yeah. Just like we save up a lot of money for our family to have a good, life, or ourselves to have a good, comfortable old age, But the thieves are always waiting to steal things or to hack into our bank account, and they can take it, and therefore our happy retirement or happy whatever disappears. Similarly, these disturbing conceptions, anger, attachment, ignorance, pride, jealousy, miserliness, all of that will, they're always searching for a good opportunity to invade our minds, right? Like hackers, And having found it, the opportunity, they will steal my positive energy, my virtue. They'll steal our data. And then we had it, They destroy our hope for a happy life. Therefore, I shall never let mindfulness depart from the doorway of my mind. If it goes, I should recall the misery of the lower realms, firmly reestablish it there. So again, taking example from our daily life, we should always make sure that our chowkidar is there, awake at our gate if we're a rich person. There are many such people in the locality where I live in Delhi. Nobody up here in Bir, but in Delhi, yes. So we should always make sure those guards are there at the doorway, at our gates, and they're awake. Because if they're not, and the thieves come, we should remember how miserable we'll be when they break into our house and steal something, steal valuable things. So of course, this is even worse if we let negative emotions coming into our mind. Then they can really make us engage through the law of karma in habitual negative action, the habitual pattern. aspect of karma, we create negative action, it's easier to do it in the future again and again and again. We keep on repeating a particular negative action. It becomes a habitual pattern, killing or lying or stealing or these things, harsh speech, whatever. It becomes a habit, and more negative karma is created, more and more suffering results. It's just never ending cycle of habitual pattern and misery as a result. So we should never let our mindfulness depart. And as they say, when you're in the company of people, watch your mouth, in other words, watch what you're saying. When you're alone, watch your mind. That's just a kind of a proverb. Of course, we need to watch our mind at all times, but especially when we're with people, it's easy, I found, to say stupid things, hurtful things, showing off, Also, all this can happen when we're in the company of others, or just meaningless chit chat, waste of breath. So we should recall that. And when we're alone, we should watch our mind in general, because our mind can lead us astray in a split second. Remember what we spoke about earlier, power of flickering thoughts. You can have a flicker of a thought and it can build up. Flicker of a thought about something or someone, and it grows. And then before you know it, you have a full-fledged emotion or panic or anxiety or anger or lust or whatever. It can build up very quickly just through a kind of flickering thought. Hardly notice the thought, but it kind of takes over. Have you had that kind of experience? Arunaji, have you had that experience? You can nod your head because I haven't allowed anybody to speak yet. But yeah, you ever had that problem? Flickering thought, and anxiety comes, anger comes, lust comes, greed, whatever. Just through a flickering thought of pizza or your favorite, or for me, gajar halwa or something. Flickering thought, it comes, and then again and again it keeps on coming until it becomes unbearable, and then I have to leave the house and go and get some, or else if it's not yet the winter season for gajar halwa in Delhi, I just have to be unhappy that it's not there, But the power of the mind, of the flickering thought, should not be underestimated. So we have to be on the lookout for these things. How might easily be generated in fortunate people who practice with respect. So I think this, if you might find this, if you have a teacher, or teachers, or people you respect in general, when you're in their company, you're more careful. Here, of course, Shantideva was speaking to monks when he gave this text, and that's why they mention abbots, abbot of a monastery. And of course, fear can be very useful. If we don't fear sickness, if we don't fear disease, if we don't fear traffic, then we can easily get sick or get run over, right? We do need to fear certain things so that we behave appropriately. Of course, there can be excess fear, but if we live in Delhi and we're afraid of dengue fever for a while, that could be quite a useful emotion for a short while, so long as we don't live in terror of mosquitoes all the time, which some people do, it seems. But there is such a thing as healthy fear. So if we have that, he's saying mindfulness can be then quite easily generated. It won't be generated if we feel, take no problem. If we just have a lukewarm attitude to all these things, then we won't generate mindfulness. And if we just hang around with our dissolute friends who just want to go to the movies or drink beer, or whatever, or just engage in idle gossip over endless cups of tea or coffee, then we're not going to develop mindfulness. Before we know it, we'll be talking about this person, that person, criticizing some, and whatever. You know what happens. Then we should also think in this way: I am always dwelling in the presence of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are always endowed with unobstructed vision. Meaning, it's not that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have good eyesight or, get good spectacles from Lawrence and Mayo or something. What it means is that Buddhas have omniscient mind, sarvagyani. Buddhas are omniscient. They can see everything. This is they can see it with their mind, not with the mental aspect. Because obviously your eyes cannot see something halfway across the planet. But, Buddhas can know everything through the power of unobstructed mind. So therefore we should think, we're in our room or we're doing something and we think, well, it doesn't matter, no one can see me. But actually the Buddhas can see us. The Buddhas can see us all the time. So just as we would not engage in, negative action when other people can see us, so Shantideva was saying, the Buddhas are always looking, can see. So that should act as a brake on our unwholesome actions. By thinking in this way, I shall mindfully develop a sense of shame, respect, and fear. Also, through doing this, recollection of the Buddha will repeatedly occur. Yeah, if we keep on thinking like this, that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are watching, then we can develop a sense of shame, meaning a sense of self-respect also, that it's shameful for me to behave in this way, given my, whatever position, status, my conscience, given the vows I've taken. So therefore, it's not good to behave in this way. We develop a healthy sense of shame. Healthy, again, just like regret, healthy regret. We don't go around, beating our breasts saying that I'm the worst person in the world. Not like that, but healthy shame, healthy regret, very useful. Sense of respect and fear. Respect for others, respect for oneself. We respect ourselves, so therefore we don't behave like an idiot, and we respect others, so we don't behave in ways that harm others. And again, fear of lower realms, fear of creating negative karma, and remember, negative karma the only function of negative karma is to create future suffering. That's what it does, unless it's purified. That's the function. At some point, it gives a painful result. Just like a seed of a poisonous plant, when the conditions are right, it's only going to give a poisonous plant. A poisonous seed is never going to give a mango or an apple tree or something. It's going to give a poisonous result. So through developing this, we'll also keep on having the chance to remember the Buddha. And to remember the Buddha is said to be very, very, very positive, very, very virtuous, because of the power of the Buddha, the merit connected with remembering the Buddha. In the refuge practice, we remember the Buddha's qualities, and we develop tremendous respect, faith, devotion towards Lord Buddha. And we see how he's really the only worthy object of refuge in terms of beings. We see how the Buddha has samsara, has developed an omniscient mind, is without fear, without bias, has unbounded love, compassion, has wisdom, tremendous, in the greatest wisdom, understanding how things exist, and is sarvagyani, as we mentioned, knows everything that needs to be known. There's debates about that, of course. And like some people say, it doesn't matter. For example, if the Buddha doesn't know how many insects are living underneath the house where I live, how many insects are there in the ground under my house? Who cares? But it's possible that Buddhas do know, in general anyway, that there's a lot of, ants or a lot of snakes or, maybe. But the point is, the Buddha knows everything that is worthwhile knowing, at least in the sense of using that knowledge to be able to help others in terms of their spiritual path and so forth, knowing our minds intimately so that the Buddha can help us. So that is possible. Sorry, I'm just going to change the orientation so I can sit normally. My knees have been rather over-exercised today in the teachings. Okay. Right. All right. So I think we're getting the idea of what Shantideva is trying to achieve in this chapter. There's still quite a few verses to go. We're not going to finish this chapter at all today. Why should we? We're not in a hurry. Long chapter. It's got wow, 109 verses. Yeah. So no hurry whatsoever. We are on yeah, okay. Maybe where are we? Verse 33. When mindfulness is set with the purpose of guarding the doorway of the mind, then alertness will come about, and even that which had gone will return. So this is checking what the mind is up to. Is it getting excited? Is it getting dull? What's it doing? Yeah? And mindfulness specifically is recollecting the object that you are meditating on. So if you're meditating on the breath, and the breath, stops being your object because you're distracted, brings you back to the breath. Yeah, and in Sanskrit is often called introspection, which is a specific function of checking whether we have alertness, whether we have excitement happening in the mind getting distracted by exciting objects, usually of attachment, or whether it's becoming dull, lazy, sluggish. That's the job of introspection, to check if that is happening in the mind. So he's saying that purpose guarding the mind, alertness will come about, and even that which had gone will return. Matlab, if it had become deficient, our alertness due to carelessness, laziness, not practicing, then if we start practicing again in this way, it will return. That's the great thing about the mind. And then there are several very practical verses which are still followed very carefully by especially by certain monks of especially the Theravadan tradition, often are very good at this. It's from Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, those countries. And of course, many Tibetan monks too are very excellent in these following practices. When, just as I'm about to act, I see that my mind is polluted with a defilement, disturbing emotion, yeah, like a piece of wood. Sorry, I'm still not. So when we feel like we're about to do something foolish or say something foolish, do something foolish, then thank you for your patience. then we imagine we're just like a piece of wood. We're a piece of wood, you know. Imagine that, just like a piece of wood. And that will take our mind off the disturbing object, hopefully. Then, and you'll see this, you'll see if you go to monasteries or certain places, you might see monks especially doing this, like in the next verse. Never should I look around distractedly for no purpose. With a resolute mind, I should always keep my eyes cast downwards. We are always looking around, you know, for something interesting, a friend, you know, something attractive to look at, or look at a dog, or we look up, we look at the sky, we look at the clouds, we look everywhere but at the ground in front of us, you know. So we might also be, you know, stepping on insects and so forth. But certainly our mind is getting distracted by looking around. So Shantideva is saying to these monks in the 8th century, but he might as well be also talking to us in the 21st century, you know, don't look around distractedly for no purpose. Of course, if you're looking for somebody, it's very important to look for this person, or you're trying to find somebody for whom there's an important message, then that's different, right? Or your child is lost in the crowd, you're looking for your child, obviously you have to look around, you know. But otherwise, keep your eyes cast downwards. But he does give some break here, a vacation from that. In verse 36, in order to relax the gaze, for a short while I should look around. For a short while, you're allowed to look around, okay? And if someone appears in my field of vision, I should look at him and say, welcome. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean you have to say this to everybody, because you might be surrounded by a lot of people. But the point is, you should be friendly. If you see somebody, don't look at them as though they are some kind of enemy of your amazing mindfulness practice, you know. You say hello to them. You say, welcome. Hi, namaste. And then, of course, this is useful if you're, again, in the 8th century, there were fewer people and things were wilder, you know, there was more wilderness. There weren't any built up cities like we have today, obviously. So if there's any danger on the path, I should look again and again in the 4 directions. To rest, I should turn my head around and then look behind me. Having examined both ahead and behind, I should proceed to either come or go. And being aware of the necessity for such mindful alertness, I should behave like this in all situations. Okay, excuse me yawning. I'm not very good at disguising my yawns. Let's have some discussion so you can talk and I can listen. So I'll give you the chance to talk, and you can unmute yourself if you're on Zoom or whatever. And if you're at Tushita, oh, yeah. Okay, anybody want to say anything based on these verses, please? Let's have that discipline to discuss what we've been discussing.
Kabirji,
Hajur.
I think since there's the presence of the Oscar Wilde, and you talk quite a lot about the disturbing conceptions,
Yes.
or the emotions in today's talk.
Shantideva
I
did.
just want, Shantideva did, but you communicated that to us.
Yes.
When Oscar Wilde was there in England, at that time, there was a lot of crime taking place, particularly the theft.
Achha.
And there was the what do you call, the journalist, they interviewed him.
Yeah.
He said, sir, the theft is taking place, a lot of theft. He said that, yes, theft is taking place. And the journalist said, well, we have so many police people. So he said that, yes, we have a lot of police.
Right.
Then they asked, will the theft stop? Oscar Wilde said that no. Then they asked the question, why? So he said, police is only a functionary, thief is an artist.
I see.
So similarly, I think in our mind, our mindfulness is like a functionary at moment. It's very dull, it is sleepy, not alert. And all these disturbing conceptions, they are like the artists. So I think the mind needs to be made more sharper, smarter than these thieves.
Yes, yes. Yeah, very good. I agree. Totally. Very good example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's a government functionary, isn't it? It's
all functionaries.
Oh, what? Huh?
Only government functionaries.
Well, sometimes private ones too, I guess. Yeah, depending. Yeah. One shouldn't malign the government too much, especially.
चलिए हम मान लेते हैं भाई, let this mind of ours not function as a government functionary.
Well, this is, of course, Ajirji is ex-IAS officer, so I shouldn't talk about government functionaries because.
No, you can talk.
He was.
We are only drawing the analogy, so no point. No issue.
Don't want to malign all government officers. I've met some very good ones, I must say. Anyway, great. That's a very good example. We need, as once Kamapaji said in a talk in Delhi, the negative emotions are very clever, very clever. So we have to be one step ahead of them, very intelligent working with them because they are very sneaky and clever. Yeah, as you say, they're artists. Like a pickpocket, in the crowd, we have no idea what's happening. And, before we know it, our wallet is gone. Happened to me once in Bodh Gaya. It was very disturbing. I was, all of my wallet went with all the cards and things that, one has in one's wallet. It was very disturbing. They did it very expertly, obviously. I had no idea. So when I came to the bicycle shop to pay for my bicycle, I couldn't find my wallet, I just bought a new bicycle. Yeah. Quite disturbing. What else? Anybody at Tushita Center have anything they want to say? Feel free. Come close to the screen. If not, doesn't matter.
Kabirji, I just wanted to ask something.
Yeah, speak up.
So about verse 32, which talks about
verse 32. Yes.
I shall mindfully develop a sense of shame, respect, and fear.
Yes.
So can you give some examples how to do that in our daily life, like when we are going about?
Well, I don't think that's difficult, is it? Maybe let somebody else answer that. It's a good question. So let somebody else answer that. So I can save my breath. Who would like to answer that among the respected students who have heard so many teachings? apart from Ajirji, who can answer it in his sleep, but who else? Mayank, what are you up to? Hello, Mayank? Are you there? No? Okay. You see, some people are really just rectangles. There's no mind there. No mind, no body. It's like the Heart Sutra. Chirag, Easter, I'll have to ask Pradeep ji. How would you develop a sense of shame, respect, or fear? Could you give an example of that in daily life?
How would you develop respect?
This, the verse is this: by thinking in this way, I shall mindfully develop a sense of shame, respect, and fear. Also, through doing this, recollection of the Buddha will repeatedly occur. So we're being asked to give an example of how we can use shame, respect, or fear in a daily life situation.
Well, if we do something wrong and we are vigilant enough to realize,
Give a concrete example, please. I think that will
like
help.
I get angry and I scream, abuse. I should have a sense of shame, realizing that I have let aversion or hatred take over me and take control over of my mind.
I see. Okay.
May I say something? Am I audible?
Who are you?
Sorry, I'm also simultaneously driving, but I paused because I thought about something. Can you see me?
Yeah, you're driving.
Yeah, I mean on the scooter.
Oh, on a motorbike or something, scooter.
Yeah. And now I'm on the side. I just you took my name, so I paused.
You would be very careful. Yeah, I would stop and talk. Yeah, don't do it while you're riding. But
No.
Yeah, you
So
have
I
a
just
helmet.
Yeah. So just one thing.
Thanks for the sound effects. They're quite
Sorry.
realistic.
Sorry. Really sorry. Just one thing. So sorry. Yeah, I just got a call. Am I back?
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So what just struck me is I deliberately connect with seniors and people in the dharma, and I visit often, and I make it like I commit to things so that when I have that sense of fear or shame that these people in the dharma whom I respect, what would they think? And when there are functions, when there are occasions, I deliberately plan to commit to things so that I look forward to something coming up. And that kept me, like, I had a function to attend in related to dharmas a few days back, and it kept me vigilant for like 10 days out of that fear and out of that sense of respect for the people I'm meeting, and fear that if I indulge in any negative thought or any kind of mind states that are harmful, I know I would get derailed and then I would be in a spiral. And then the moment I meet these kind of people, when they see me, they know there's something wrong. So I think close association, to build a close association with a few seniors who are your friends in the dharma and whom you respect, especially close, because if you're not close, then there is no sense of fear, because then it's only sort of superficial and from a distance. But when there is slightly closer association with multiple people, of course with not complete closeness but healthy distance, but still a little, like, you're answerable, you should feel you're answerable, and you have to take yourself there to, of course the other person also has to be willing, but just to put yourself deliberately in those situations where like, every day you have to go to meditate, so or you have to, let's say, host a session. So every morning I know if I have to come in front of the camera in a dharma environment or meet people, I'm every night I know, okay, this is my commitment. So any kind of this commitment keeps me full of fear and shame that, okay, if I do something wrong or if I sleep late in the night, it's going to show in the morning session, and this is how I'm going to look. So I just try to do that, though a part of my mind really resists that. but a part of the mind also does that because I know it's healthy for me.
Good, very good. Does that answer your question? I think good examples from people. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oscar Wilde.
So,
You were quoted
this is-
by Ajirji. I don't know if he quoted you properly.
So this is in response to Vedika's question only. I think one of the most effective, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's correct. So one of the most effective ways would be to realize that the Buddha energy is all pervasive and he's watching us all the time, wherever we are. Because consider this, like, there are worlds, something which is not visible to us doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That, for instance, electromagnetic waves or microbes, just because we cannot see them, that doesn't mean they are not out there, right? And even the texts, they tell us again and again that a Buddha's mind is all knowing and he's all pervasive and they are watching over you. So that is one of the, I think, like if you kind of internalize that, and wherever, even so, even when you're alone, like obviously looking forward up to people who are older than you, or in the making good association, like associating with dharma friends and all, that is very helpful. But this realization is also, I think, very it can prove very powerful if done properly. I don't know, like, is it correct?
You mean, is this like, will you get 5 marks or 0 marks? I don't know. I don't like those kind of multiple choice questions. What do you think, Vedika? Is that helpful, what Oscar Wilde said?
I think that is.
Haji?
Yeah, I think that is quite helpful. So,
Do you, of course, if you don't believe in the Buddha in that way, it might not be so helpful. But she did give the example of electromagnetism, which we cannot see, at least with our eyes, but it has powerful effects. So similarly, the Buddha, we might not be able to see the certain aspect of the Buddha, but doesn't mean the Buddha's energy and omniscience is not operating, right?
right.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. According to you, I'm correct. According to someone who doesn't believe in Buddha, I'm totally wrong, you see. But anyway, if it helps, that's good. That's good. You raised your hand again, Oscar Wilde, or is that the previous hand? You can put
No,
it
like
down.
yeah. Can I ask a question?
You just asked one. You mean another question?
Yeah. Can I ask?
That'll cost you, but yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So in the verse, in one of the verses, he said that, like, for instance, let's say we have generated virtue worth rupees 10, right? Or virtue worth rupees 100. And then due to
A
the
virtue
presence of a
worth rupees
merit,
100.
like, I'm just giving an example, like in terms of money and all that. So let's say, like, we have generated 100, like, I'm just giving a number as an example. So 100 rupees worth of virtue, and we destroy it. So we earn 100, but we lose 110. So we are not earning anything, right? So you're going into debt, right? If I earn 100 and I'm like losing all those, like I'm destroying all that virtue, my punya. So I'm going into, like, my karmic account is actually going into negative, right? So what I'm trying to say is that he says at one point that it's very essential to save whatever virtue or merit or punya we have generated, howsoever, right? It's very important, even if it is little. So, but like, I mean, like, if you're not progressing, so is it true that your regressing actions can be of 3 types: positive, negative, and neutral, right? So if you're positive, if you're engaging in positive actions, you're progressing, definitely. If your neutral actions, they don't generate any virtue. And if not, then obviously you will be regressing, right? So how to deal with that?
It's obvious, isn't it? What do you
How
want to
is,
be? You want to
like,
be neutral, you want to be negative, or you want to be positive? What looks like the best option? This is multiple
Like
choice now. Okay, you have to tick the box. Karma, question 3, karma. 3 boxes. Tick the one which you think is most useful. Positive, negative, neutral. What are you ticking?
Positive. Yeah.
Good, that's your answer. Yeah, you get 5 marks there. Yeah, obviously. There's no such thing anyway as a totally new. You can't go through a whole day neutral. There will either be some negative created and some positive, or a whole mix. And anyway, from a Buddhist perspective, we are creating worldly karma every day. If we are acting without understanding emptiness, every action we create is only creating cause for future samsara. We're only creating karma to stay in the jail. It's just some of us are creating the karma to be in a very nice place in the jail, comparatively. A nice cell with a nice guard and a heater and hot water and maybe use of a cell phone and of course Doordarshan and Netflix. But some people don't even have that, right? They don't even have a proper toilet in their jail cell. So everything we're creating right now without realization of emptiness is just keeping us in the jail. But if we are in jail, we might as well be in a good place in jail, right? Who wants to be in a disgusting cell with murderers, guards who like torturing us, you know? That's for sure. Ajirji, were you saying something? You can put your hand down. You can put your hand down, Oscar Wilde. Yeah.
Kabir ji, I was thinking that regardless of the consequences, whether it's not a reward, like a good action should not be done because you will get rewarded. A good action, a positive action, a helpful action is in itself a reward, should be. Otherwise, it becomes like you're doling out goodies, like, oh, okay, be a nice boy and I'll hand over this to you. I think the motivation, which is very difficult, I'm not saying that it's easy, but the motivation of a good action should be the good action itself.
कौन बोलता है? ये कौन बोलता है?
I think so, because otherwise your good action is always conditioned by the rewards you're going to get.
तो अच्छी बात है ना अगर आप
नहीं, अच्छी बात है, but उससे भी अच्छी बात है कि अगर आपका जो सही एक्शन है आप उसमें विश्वास रख के उसको करते हैं, regardless of what you get in return, at least in material terms.
हो सकता है, ये तो गीता में भी लिखा है.
गीता में तो बहुत कुछ लिखा है जिसमें तो गीता is more like a dharma of plan of you follow what is expected of you, not what you should be doing within. मतलब ये भी लिखा हुआ है उसमें.
वो अलग बात है, लेकिन गीता में ये बहुत अच्छी बात लिखा है ना कि you shouldn't crave after the fruits of your action. You should just do the action, the good action, no? ऐसा कुछ है, or am I misinterpreting the Gita? बहुत पहले पढ़ा, बहुत दिनों से नहीं पढ़ा है गीता.
Gita, according to me, is a very it's not that simple to.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of elements in Gita which you may not agree at all. There are a lot of elements in Gita which will say, yes, they're good.
Yeah. I only liked a few parts of it, but I enjoyed reading it. Translation when I was younger, very poetic translation by a chap called Juan Mascaro in the Penguin Classic series. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, of course, I think we would agree with you, and Ajirji would agree with you. Oscar Wilde would probably agree with you that it's better that, we don't have that kind of, what might one call it? We're just openly just creating positive karma. We're not, John, what am I trying to say? We are not being very devious or, working out, if I do this, I will get this. If I do this, I'll get that. Like a wily merchant or stocks and shares person. We're not doing it that way. We're doing goodness, as you say, because it's good, because, goodness is goodness. Goodness brings positive energy, etc., whatever. Because you love others, because you care for them, you want them to be happy, and you're not doing it for, ulterior motive for yourself. But how about if we're doing a good action, wanting the other person to be happy? Is that okay, Pradeepji? Or is that also too, what's the word?
No, that is the best thing to do, to help others to be happy.
No,
That's
but you have the
You're saying
ambition.
that you're weighing in the returns. I think the return of other person being happy is it's not as if you are benefiting materially, as I was saying.
How about I have a certain gift, which I think is an amazing gift that I want to give to Pradeepji, and because it's going to make him so happy and stuff. And I give it to you, and you're obviously not happy because you're totally not interested in that kind of gift, whatever it is, Say I give you a book on, I don't know, football or croquet, and it turns out you're interested in cricket, So I should have got you a book on cricket. So I had that expectation you'll be so happy with the gift I'm giving you, but it turns out that you're not. So is my wanting you to be happy through what I'm giving you skillful or not? I'm wondering. If we have expectation, what we're doing.
I mean, if you give me anything which even if I don't like, the very fact that you have thought of me and given me a gift, I would be very happy. I think, comes from the motivation you have. With what motivation have you given the gift?
Achha.
I think if your motivation is pure, if it is to see me happy, I think it's regardless of whether I like it or not.
But you see, if I'm ambitious that you be happy about it and you're not, I will be disappointed. So that shows that there's some defect in my action and motivation, because as you say, it depends on the motivation, but my motivation is a kind of grasping at wanting you to be happy and being unhappy, being upset when what I've given you is not making you as happy as I want. Anyway, something to think about. But as you say, it is mainly the motivation, of course. But yeah, motivation should be pure and clear as possible, and then we let go. Once we've given it, then I think we need to let go. You like it, you like it. You don't like it, you don't like it. That's okay. You throw it in the dustbin the next day, whatever. But maine to, khule dil se de diya hai, without expectation of anything in return. Sometimes we give gifts with strings attached. Oh, you must have this, or, don't give it away to anybody, or this is for you. And, we would be horrified if then that person handed it over to somebody else the same day or the next day, especially someone we don't like, So we often have strings attached, isn't it, to our so-called good actions, so-called generosity. What else? What's the time? Yeah, 8:05. Anything else? I'll check the chat. You have a very interesting lighting effect above your head, Ajirji. It looks like you have a multicolored halo.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the dining hall outside, because the people are chatting outside there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Oscar Wilde sends up. Boliye.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I just want to respond to Oscar Wilde regarding the karmic settlement. I think I just wanted to share this experience. As you are telling कि concrete example दीजिए, तो मैं एक concrete example दे रहा हूँ. I travel by metro, and from Jorbag I go to Tibber House by the scooter, the three-wheeler. And one day I found that this scooter wala was very jittery. He was talking to someone. वो बहुत परेशान था. Hello.
Yeah.
Do you listen? आ रहा है आवाज? हाँ.
बिल्कुल आ रहा है, बस मैंने अपना वीडियो बंद कर दिया, आपका आवाज तो आ ही रहा है.
ओह अच्छा अच्छा, चलिए ठीक है. तो क्या हुआ कि तो मैंने उसको पूछा, भाई इतने परेशान क्यों हो? If I put this in Hindi, it's okay to everyone?
हाँ हाँ बोलिए ना, कोई अंग्रेज नहीं है यहाँ. हाँ, सब
अच्छा.
भारत के लोग हैं. होगा तो अनुवाद वो हो जाएगा.
अच्छा. So then what has happened is that he said that he is from Lucknow and he has a land and he has to pay to the lawyer because there's the case going on. So I asked him how much. He said that 20,000. So I said that, okay, tomorrow morning you meet me because I would be going to Tiber house. So I paid him 20,000 rupees and he was absolutely a new man. I never met him. And he said that he would pay me with the interest. I think they have their own way of giving the interest. So I said that, no, I don't require any interest. You can just give me the capital back. So it kept on going few months, 1 year passed, he didn't give me. So finally he gave me 6,000 rupees after maybe a year or two. Then I really kept on thinking, why this situation has really come. After contemplating quite a lot, then I thought that I need to accept the situation. Maybe in some past life, I took the money from him and I have not written back. So this is the right time that it offered. My karmic account is settled with him. And if this is not the situation, at least my karmic account for the next life would be open. So why should I really worry? I think that really calmed down my mind. And now, after about 5-6 years, even if I see him at the gate of Jorbagh, he smiles and I also smile. I never felt asking him. So I think accepting that there is some karmic operation working or will work seems to give the calming effect to the mind. Otherwise, it keeps on disturbing.
And this person never says anything. He never shows any shame or says or look embarrassed.
No. He said, ये हो गया, हॉस्पिटल में है, वो हो गया, तो मुझे जो है ये हुआ. That's all.
Well, yeah, that's a good example. Huh? So, but your motivation when you gave him, how would you describe it?
No, motivation was just to help him because he was really suffering. You know, वो जोरबाग से लेकर तिब्बत हाउस तक वो फोन पे ही करता रहा, किसी को बात. Yeah, so he was really struggling to get this 20,000 rupees. Otherwise, his land, which he said is quite costly in Lucknow, would go away because the lawyer needs to be paid. Who is going to defend his case?
Yeah. So, thank you, Ajit ji.
I try the same formula when my wife is nudging or this thing, but it is still not working. So I need more practice.
Yeah, I'm sure wives and husbands are the best practice. I'm sure one's partner is the best practice, and not cats and dogs or bosses. But yeah, so we are in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Kya baat hai? Kya baat hai? Yeah, what do you guys think? She's not asking the girls, only the guys. Yeah. हो सकता है, पता नहीं. अच्छा जी, सुजीत जी, कोई शेयर कोई पोएम शेयर करना है? सुजीत जी.
Why?
What do you mean why? कुछ आप वहीं अपने स्टैचुएस्क आइकॉन लगा के बैठे हैं and not participating in our session with your wisdom. ऐसे थोड़ी चलेगा. कम से कम कुछ सेकंड हैंड विजडम तो शेयर कीजिए ना. सेकंड हैंड मतलब फर्स्ट क्लास पोएम या कुछ शेयर कीजिए और एनीथिंग कुछ आशीर्वाद दीजिए सबको देहरादून आप देहरादून में हैं आजकल
हाँ कबीर जी
हाँ तो वहाँ का कुछ दीजिए ना ब्लेसिंग वेसिंग I've put Sujit on the spot. Or else he's quickly.
No. There are two things. So Ajir ji was just mentioning about a marriage, basically. So I would just read a small poem by Jack Gilbert for that.
By who?
It's Jack Gilbert.
Oh, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's called Meaning Well.
Meaning well.
Marrying is like somebody throwing the baby up. It happy and then throwing it higher to the ceiling. With jars the loose bulb and it goes out as the baby starts down.
There was some distortion in the last two lines. Could you repeat them, please? Sorry.
It says, I'll just read the entire thing again. Marrying is like somebody throwing the baby up. It happy and then throwing it higher to the ceiling. With jars the loose bulb and it goes out as the baby starts down.
I didn't get the jars. Jars bit? Something jars?
Yeah, it jars the loose bulb and it goes out. So basically the light goes out as the baby
the
starts
loose bulb.
down.
Jars the loose bulb.
Yeah. So meaning well. I think marriages, there's a lot of good intent in marriages and in partnerships. But it is the best practice, I suppose.
Lack of skillful, it seems to be about lack of skillful means also. One needs skillful means, not just good intentions.
Yeah, one needs to be very careful of the environment, I suppose. One should be aware that there's a loose bulb around.
Yes. Very good.
And there was one thing, I was just thinking about verses 38 and 39 of the Vigilant Introspection, chapter 5, Sampragya Rakshan. And there's this, so the third line of verse 38 says, being aware of the necessity for such mindful alertness, I should behave like this in all situations. And once having prepared for an action with the thought, my body will remain in such a way. Then periodically, I should look to see how the body is being maintained.
Right.
And so today morning, I was just meditating and there was someone was at the door. So the person rang the bell and my mind was aware and it was kind of calm, but my body was not calm at all. The heart rate went up quite a bit. I started sweating for maybe another 15 minutes. And I, of course, dealt with the person who was at the door very normally. But there was quite a discrepancy about how my mind was functioning at the moment and how my body reacted to that kind of shock of the bell, because it was maybe not prepared for it.
Right.
Yeah, so I found that quite interesting in the sense of it being the opposite of what generally happens with even me. That the mind is the wild elephant and not the body. And here it was just the body was monkeying around and the mind was calm.
Interesting. Yeah. It obviously triggered something, maybe some past event where Yeah, I often don't like the doorbell ringing, actually, when I have no idea who it is, because the mind, invents whoever, the person from, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or, whatever, the police or something. And then, of course, it could be the paper wala, and so one's very happy dealing with him and paying him what we owe, but the body has already started going into overdrive because the mind originally thought it was, somebody one doesn't want to see. But here, Shantideva, actually, this is in the context, again, of more of monasticism, although it applies to us too, that like before you go out the door, a monastic is supposed to know exactly why they are bothering to go out the door. You shouldn't go out the door for no reason, not knowing what you're going to do, you might just wander into town, at the wrong time of day or something. So you're supposed to know what you're supposed to do, where you're going, and then you make sure your body is doing that and not doing anything else, Having prepared for an action with the thought, my body will remain in such a way. So you say, yeah, okay, I'm going out the door to walk around the quadrangle at Deer Park, okay? But I'm not going down into town to the Mafia Cafe. It's called Mafia, actually. There's all these new cafes in town. I'm not going to walk to the Mafia Cafe because I'll get distracted there. And there's loud music and my mind will be disturbed. So I have to make sure when I go out the door of where I'm staying and adhere to my original purpose, which was just to have a little stroll within the Deer Park campus, you see? So then we have to make sure the body is doing what we want it to do, what it is supposed to do. And it doesn't just start kicking the dirt around or just behaving like some lout or some, inebriated football fan or something like that. One should, walk properly and, dignified manner, etc. But yeah, your example is also very interesting, and we are supposed to be aware, aren't we, of what's going on, making friends with our body and mind as much as we can, and so on. Good, so we have covered some ground today. We'll stop now, if you don't mind. I'm also ready to stop and have something to eat. And I hope all of you have a very good evening ahead. We can dedicate again for never being separated from such wonderful teachings of Shantideva, which are helping us to lead a meaningful life for ourselves and a meaningful life for others. And they actually are giving us a lot of material that will help us to become fully enlightened Buddhas, essential material. Without Bodhichitta, there's no Buddhahood. Without Bodhichitta, there could only be liberation, nirvana, if we have the wisdom. But with Bodhichitta, we can become Buddhas who are then have incredible capacity to benefit others. So we've been looking at this text with decent motivation. So that's amazing, really an incredibly good karma, I would say. That would be in the positive box in Oscar Wilde's test. And also we should dedicate that we are never separated from such dharma, never separated from such dharma and from qualified teachers like His Holiness and all the other great masters. So like that, we should never be discouraged by difficulties, obstacles, by faults that we see in ourselves and faulty actions. We must quickly make amends, do what's necessary, and carry on. With that motivation to benefit others, we shouldn't let our own mistakes make us, crestfallen, or depressed. Everyone makes mistakes, but we should carry on. I think. So let's dedicate in that way that we become really useful and beneficial for other people. And this world, which is suffering so much right now in every which way, environmentally, economically, socially, politically, of course, mentally, physically, if we look at all of those areas of life, so much confusion, misery, etc. So let's dedicate for increase of wisdom, compassion, patience, and just kindness towards each other. That would go a very long way. And many thanks to all of you who asked questions and gave your stories and answers and comments. Thank you very much. And yeah, hope to see some of you on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Thank you, Kabirji.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Pranam, Kabirji.
Pranam, pranam, pranam. Yeah.